Yeah, okay.
Okay, you guys aren't privy to all the new shit, so, but
Okay, we're gonna try something a little different this time. I kinda don't want to do live commentary and just have the character stand around for minutes on end while I yammer on, so I'm gonna be talking in little pauses like this throughout the game. I'm hoping it'll keep my comments to when they're strictly necessary, and also will allow for a smoother feel of gameplay. Or maybe it won't work at all and this sucks. Let me know what you think. This being a somewhat older game, there's not too much in the way of menu options to explore. Instructions is instructions for how to call the hint line and, get refunds and stuff like that. So nothing for it but to jump into the intro. One of the things I loved as a kid was that Police Quest 4 came bundled with a 50-page LAPD manual, going over responsibilities, procedures, crime scene stuff, etc. So wherever helpful, I will be reading from that. Like here, for instance, a radio call accompanied by a Code 3 designation is an emergency call. It shall be answered immediately, but in a manner which will enable the unit to reach the scene as quickly as possible with safety.
Code 3.
We are playing in this game as John Carey, a detective in the Major Crimes Homicide Division of the LAPD, so us being called to the scene of this crime is a pretty good indication that there is a death.
John, let me warn you. It's bad. Real bad. It's Hickman.
Hickman? Bob Hickman?
He's been badly mutilated, John. Tortured, really.
My God, Sam. Has Bob's wife, Catherine, been informed?
When the call came in, I was told Hickman's captain was headed to their house. They have a little girl, don't they?
Yeah, Valerie. Her name is Valerie.
Look, John, I know you and Bob went back a long way.
A long way? Hell, Sam, Bob and I went through the academy together. We shared a ride for 5 years. I'm that little girl's godfather. Sam, Bob was my best friend. Yeah, you could say we went back a long way.
That's also Bob Hickman's body lying, directly underneath our feet in this well-lit area. We're having this conversation directly over him, and we've certainly looked at the body, so I don't know how much I buy this, he's my best friend since forever narrative here. Maybe the original intent was we were walking into the scene of the crime having this conversation. Who knows?
I'm sorry, John.
Yeah, I'm sorry too. Sorry the city is so full of dirtbags, creeps, and losers. Bob was a great guy, Sam. A great cop. Who the hell would do this to him?
This seems like an appropriate place for no real reason to mention that yes, I absolutely was going to be playing the version of this game with voice acting rather than the text. The character model for John Carey is Brandon Massey, who, as far as I can tell, has only appeared in this game and Urban Runner, a slightly later French action-adventure game. The voice actor, though, is Doug Boyd, a pretty accomplished voice actor who, among other things, was Forrest Kaysen in Deadly Premonition.
What the hell was he doing out there?
I don't know, John. It's your job to find out. My job is to pick up the body and find the cause of death.
I think when a lot of people remember Police Quest 4, they'll have this first scene really in mind. This plays to a lot of strengths of the game. Now, this is before there were really tutorials in these adventure games. You're kind of thrown right into it, but there's a lot to see, there's a lot to do, and there's procedure to follow. So we will be examining the scene, introducing ourselves to the witnesses with our badge, correctly identifying ourselves as police officers, taking statements, looking for evidence. We're just going to be going nuts as a detective. Let's go.
Graffiti mars the neighborhood. It's Officer Malcolm Allen, LAPD. Yep, signage is important to a prosperous business. Carrie, the man appears intoxicated and a bit agitated. This young man appears interested in the alley proceedings. Your badge is a symbol of your commitment and your identification.
That little ding you heard was us getting points. There aren't really branching paths, and there aren't that many decisions you can make that affect the game beyond a line or two. This is early days still, but the way they try to enforce good behavior is by awarding points. Those don't really do anything, but you can see how well you did at the end. Looking at our badge gives us our first point, and we note we are officer number 612.
Department-issued handcuffs. It's your Parker Center identification badge.
Hello, I'm Detective Carey, LAPD. Would you mind answering a question or two?
No, sir. I mean, yes, sir. Yeah, I'll answer you.
What is your name, sir?
Jack. To Jack.
Detective, this information is already recorded.
Sir, did you see any unusual activity or unfamiliar cars in the neighborhood?
I hear shots. Fast. Like pop, 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 pop.
What time might you have heard these shots, sir?
It pop, 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 pop. And I just hear them shots. I was scared.
Any other information you could give me, sir?
Pop, pop, pop. I know this sound. It's killing the children.
Okay, so one of the elephants in the room for this game is its portrayal of race, something that was really noted even at the time, decades ago when this game came out. Again, the story written by LAPD former police chief Daryl Gates, who has a troubled history of race relations. We're going to go more into him a lot in other videos, as well as this, what this area of LA means, what it's about, the whole socio-cultural stew going on here. For now, though, we'll just have to rest with the fact that that was 2 Jack. He heard pop, 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 and that's the sound that's killing the children.
Hello, I'm Detective Carey with the LAPD. Would you mind answering a few questions?
Ain't seen nothing, man. Just chilling. some law about living?
The young man's interest appears a bit suspicious. Always record your gut feelings. Sometimes this job is pure instincts.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, who would possibly be interested in a dead body lying in an alleyway and police flooding the area near the neighborhood where you live? On another note, just chillin', man. There's some kind of law against living.
I'm Detective Carey, Major Crimes, Homicide, LAPD. I'd like to ask you a question or two.
Whatever, man. I'm just hanging.
Let's start with your name. What is it, and do you live in the neighborhood, or are you just visiting?
Man, this be my hood. I mean, I be Raymond Jones III.
Well, Raymond, if this is your neighborhood, then you must know what goes on around here. What happened here tonight? You see any...
I don't know if this is like early days for the voice actor, or they don't give much direction, but we sound weirdly confrontational in this line only. And I get that John is supposed to be sort of in emotional turmoil over the death of his friend, but that would be more believable if he didn't sound just extremely calm and collected in most other voice lines. It just sounds like we're really angry at Raymond Jones III here.
Anything unusual? Maybe a different car, or some folks from another neighborhood?
Ain't seen nor heard nothing. Just out with some fresh L.A. air.
Detective, this information is already recorded.
So, Mr. Jones, what you're telling me is you don't have anything to tell me. Is that correct?
That's straight up. Ain't seen nothing, done nothing, know nothing.
So, Mr. Jones, what you're telling me is...
That's...
Officer Woodbury, I'm taking over as lead investigator.
Yes, sir, Detective Carey. I have my crime scene log for you.
Were you the first on the scene?
Yes, sir. Officer Allen and I were on patrol. He was driving. As we passed the alley, I looked to my right. I saw the body. We radioed it in, stopped, set up the perimeter.
Is there anything else you can tell me, Officer Woodbury?
No. We rolled by, saw the body, radioed it in. There was no one in the alley besides the body. The neighbors came out once we set up the perimeter. It was quiet when we got here.
Kind of odd that they didn't hear the gunshots described by 2-Jack.
Notating Officer Woodbury's presence is unnecessary, as it'll be notated in the crime scene log. What is it you wish...
I'll be stepping in as lead investigator, officer. Can you tell me what the situation was when you got here?
Yes, sir. Woodbury and I were on our regular patrol. We spotted the body as we drove by. We radioed in, then moved in on the scene. We checked the alley for possible assailants, but found no one. Everything is pretty much as it was when we arrived.
That's it?
Yes, sir. The body was just lying there. I didn't know him, but Woody told me that the deceased was a cop, undercover guy working the neighborhood. Oh, Hitman or something like that.
It's Hickman, and yes, he was working the crash unit, although I didn't know he was working this neighborhood.
The crash unit was the Community Resources Against Street Hoodlums, a specialized gang intelligence unit of the LAPD, tasked with combating gang-related crime. It was closed down in the year 2000. Operation Hammer was a major crash-led initiative in 1987 that resulted in 1,453 people being arrested by 1,000 police officers in a single weekend, and that resulted in 32 instances of charges being filed. If you suspect that some people might have thought that some of the arrests were racially motivated, I think your head's in the right place.
You've never seen him before, and this is your regular district?
Yes, sir, that is correct. I've never seen him before.
Hello, Chester. Thanks for coming out.
Sure, Detective. This is one horrible night when one of our own goes down. I'm glad to be of service. Let me know when you want photos. Standing by, Detective Carey, ready to collect samples or evidence if needed. You haven't properly marked or notated any evidence, Detective. Let me know when you have.
I know I said there aren't many major branching points or decisions to make in the game, but there's actually a fair amount that you could miss in this early scene. We talk to the people because Two-Jack wanders off relatively quickly if he's not spoken to. The rest of our time here, we will be spending gathering evidence so that Chester, a member of the forensic investigation squad, can take the evidence and take pictures of it and the like. Let's get to it.
It's your car, Carey, a 1993 T-Bird. The back alley to the Lucky Mini Mart. It doesn't look so lucky now. It's police banner tape used at crime scenes for setting up a perimeter. It's your homicide kit.
I feel like I need to mention this early on too. I don't know if this is direction or just the voice actor or what, but the narrator sounds really fed up with you like half of the time, and it often seems pretty random for what.
This is your Ithaca 12-gauge pump shotgun. Use of force to this degree is unnecessary at this time, Carey. It's your department-issued homicide kit. The baggies hold evidence found at crime scenes. Chalk, made in the USA. 24-inch pry bar, very handy. The jar is used to collect samples when SID is not called for. Rubber gloves used against infection or contamination. The putty knife is made in the USA. Department-issued 9-volt anodized aluminum flashlight. The tortured and tormented body of Bob Hickman, LAPD, lies lifeless among the alley debris. An obvious case of felonious homicide.
So a few things obviously stand out here. One, no bullet wounds that we can obviously see, despite Two-Jack saying he heard a lot of popping sounds. 2, guns missing. 3, cigarette mirror.
A gruesome sight. Contusions and burn marks appear on Hickman's abused body. An empty holster can mean only one thing: another gun on the street. A lipstick-stained cigarette lies near Hickman's body. Let Chester from SID handle any possible evidence.
That's the Scientific Investigation Division, responsible for collecting and processing evidence.
Detective, this cigarette could be evidence.
So, fun fact, now that we have cameras and stuff, we don't need to chalk outline bodies anymore, and police don't do that. And even if you chalked outlined in this, like, dirty alley, it would be washed away by the next morning. But this is a computer game, so this chalk outline is necessary and will be there the rest of the game.
The tortured and tormented body of Bob Hickman, LAPD, lies lifeless among the alley debris. An obvious case of felonious homicide. A gruesome sight. A gruesome graffiti mars the neighborhood. The back alley. Detective noting physical evidence of the deceased is necessary, but most unpleasant. Graffiti is often left behind by gangs. Recording the symbol could prove useful. The tortured, noting that a cigarette lay near the body could prove important later. An empty hole, an empty... The body of a young boy lies strewn in the dumpster. Recording information at the crime scene ensures accurate reports later. Bullet wounds puncture the boy's body.
Oof. Well, I guess we know where Two Jack's shots went. This is, by the way, also a missable piece of the scene, although it gets discovered later and you just get yelled at if you miss it. We'll show that off.
He looks no more than 6 or 7 years of age. Bullet wound. He looks no...
John, have you found something?
Nobles! Chester! We have another body! Sam, we're gonna need another ambulance. There's a body of a young boy in the dumpster.
We'll get another car here, John.
He's just a child, Sam. What's happening on our streets?
It's a sad state of affairs, John. It's situations like this, a child victimized by violence, that makes it tough to do this job.
Thrill as these two titans of acting shake your spirit to its very core with their emotion-wrought tempests.
Sam, do you have a preliminary finding on Hickman's cause of death?
It's hard to say, John. There are no evident bullet wounds. There are cervical contusions, possibly asphyxiation. There's no unusual sputum, so it's difficult to think poisoning, but I'm not ruling anything out. Whoever did this was definitely non-compos mentis. By the way, notice that the index finger on the right hand is missing.
The torture...
Officer Woodbury, when we're finished here, I want the neighborhood canvassed to see if anyone's missing a child, but has not reported it yet.
Yes, sir.
It looks like it's going to be a busy night for you, Chester.
Unfortunately, our streets are being taken over by violence. Innocent people being killed. It's uncivilized, sir.
Chester, take over on the evidence.
Yes, Detective. Whenever you're ready, fellas, I'm finished.
John, we can handle it from here. Stop by tomorrow for the autopsy. We'll know more then.
Not too bad, Carrie. That's about as good as we could have done for this first scene, and that's the first day. I hope you liked this exploration so far, and I hope you're pumped up where we can try to tie the pieces of this mystery together. Let's jump in next time with Let's Play Police Quest 4 Open Season.